Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Thank you for being here. It's Wednesday. On Wednesday I post a new YouTube video, and today, as you noticed, it's about my au pair experience in England. So it was already 10 years ago, but I remember everything perfectly, just like it was yesterday. So I wanted to talk to you about this experience, why I decided to leave, what happened, and why I quit. Yeah, why I stopped. Okay, so you're going to have all the information, and it's great for you to study new vocabulary. I'm going to put a picture of interesting vocabulary every time I say one. I mean, everything I say is interesting, obviously, but just more advanced or good vocabulary to know. I'm going to pause the video, put a picture of the word so you can write it down or maybe practice pronunciation. Up to you. Don't forget to subscribe and comment, like this video if you enjoy it, and you have a lot of other videos to watch as well if you want. And yeah, let's go! So to start, I thought it was a good idea to give you the definition of an au pair. Mimi, tu peux fermer la fenêtre, tu crois? Merci! Okay, so the definition of an au pair is a foreign person, usually a young woman, who lives with a family in order to learn the language and who takes care of the children or cleans the house in return for meals, room and small payment. So that's the definition of an au pair. Some people tend to think that an au pair means being a maid, literally. So, okay, I'm going to start with where I was and how long I stayed there. So, I called an agency, an au pair agency, and you basically pay them to look for a family, and usually you think that it's going to be a good fit for you and it's going to help being more secure, safe, everything. So my family was in York, and I mean, I'm so glad that it was the best city I could live in. So York is a small city in the northeast of England. Yeah, amazing city. I will put some pictures here if you want to check. And I stayed in York for 9 months, but I stayed as an au pair in the family during 3 months, more or less. So let me tell you a little bit of the process and my daily life as an au pair. So as I said, I called an agency, my parents paid the agency to find the family. The agency didn't really do a good job. Basically, the family was nice at first, but then I had some problems, obviously. I will tell you that in a minute. So the agency found the family. I went to England in August to meet them beforehand for starting the position as an au pair in September for the new school year. So I met them. The family was very friendly. There was nothing there to notice really. They had 2 little girls. One was 3 years old and the other one was 8. Cute. I mean, nothing to say here. And my daily activities were waking up, taking care of the girls, so getting them ready for school, preparing breakfast, and then I got myself ready. And then I dropped them off to school in the morning, but we didn't take the bus, we had a taxi. So basically the parents didn't want the girls to take the bus, so I had a taxi every morning to take the girls to school. And then I went to my language school, to English school, in the city centre of York, and I took the bus to go there, or I walked. I used to walk a lot in England, every day, all the time. I loved it. I went to the language school, took English lessons every morning from, I think, 9:30 to 12:30, something like that. And then I was rushing back home. So taking the bus, okay, going back home. I had lunch, I was getting ready to pick the girls from school, because I think they finish earlier in England. Or I don't even know in France here because I don't have any children, but I used to pick them up like at 3 or something like that. So by the time I went home, had dinner, had lunch, I had to rush again to the school to pick them up. And again, I was going to pick them up with the bus, but then we had a taxi to go home because again, the parents didn't want them to take the bus. After that, in the afternoon, I prepared snacks and I played with the girls, just waiting for the parents to come home from work. They were both quite busy and had interesting jobs. They were coming back home around 7 p.m, something like that. That was basically my days there as an au pair. Now, the interesting part, what happened and why did I quit? As I said, the family was fine at first and the children were good and friendly and fun. But I was, how can I say that? I was taking as the maid, basically. So the family, I didn't mention that, the family was Indian, which is fine. I've never seen Indian before. I'm from a small village in France, so I didn't know anything, basically. So I went there, new country, new language, new family, new culture, double culture with British culture and then Indian culture. But it was fine with me, I was very happy. But basically, normally you share dinners with the family, you share some weekends, you are like part of the family, that's normally the deal. Okay, you're not just put in a room and do the washing and play with the kids. No, it's not usually how it works or how it should work because you live with them. So the family was Indian and they had Indian food all the time, of course. So Indian food is very spicy, and if you're not used to it, then you can't really eat it. Or you could, but then you could get sick, or it depends if you're used to spices or not. So that was a bit problematic, and basically the family said, directly, well, you can't eat our food because it's spicy, so I'm going to give you £15 a week to get your food. So £15 every week to buy me food, to cook my own dinners and things like that. So I didn't share any meals with them, I was eating after them. There was a lot of cleaning going on, but they weren't doing anything and I was doing all the kids' washing and things like that. Nothing was good, and every time I was doing something it wasn't good enough. Like I remember, I was 18, going for a new adventure, new country, all that at once. And I remember one day I was ironing the polos of the girls, the uniforms for school, and I didn't do something well enough. So the mother came to me and said, well, can you do that again because it's not like perfectly ironed. And I was like, really? Like, are you kidding me? Yeah, as I mentioned, the girls weren't allowed to take the bus. So we had a taxi every day, which is fine. If you've got the money and it's not very expensive in England, why not? But it's not because they preferred, because they had the money, it's because they didn't trust really the bus and they didn't feel safe for the girls to take the bus, which is a bit strange. And so one day I remember we didn't have the taxi, I don't know why the taxi didn't come, and we had to take the bus to go home because the parents were working. And so the girls were so excited and it was like new for them, and I was like, okay, you're taking the bus. But yeah, the girls were very happy and very excited to take the bus because it's normal, it's just like all their friends. But yeah, small things like that all the time. Another thing is that the little one, the one that was 3 years old, was like a princess. But it's not her fault, it's her parents' fault really. Because every time she didn't have all the attention, she was started to shout, to cry. It was actually terrible. I remember one day on the morning before going to school, so I used to prepare them the breakfast and getting them ready for school. So that morning she had cereals for breakfast, like usual breakfast, but now she wanted pancakes. And she started to shout, to cry, it was terrible. you have your bowl here of cereals, you just have to eat it. There is no other option. And no, the parents made me prepare pancakes on a Tuesday or, I don't know, Friday morning before school, and throw the rest of the cereals that she didn't want to eat. I was flabbergasted by the parents accepting to make me throw the first breakfast and prepare them another one. So yeah, there was that. Other things like the first time I actually went out on a weekend. So your weekends are free, you can do whatever you want. Before December or November, I wasn't going out at all. Like, I was going out during the day, but I didn't have any friends because at school all the friends were having lunch together, they were having parties and dinners and things like that. But because I was working, I was rushing back after the school to go home and get the girls, etc. So I didn't have really a social life back then. So imagine you're 18, new country, new language, you are far away from your family and your friends, and you can't even have the time, the luxury to find people and meet people. And yeah, I was really sad at that time. And the first time I went out, so the school organized a party, I think it was for Christmas or Halloween, I can't remember. But yeah, they organized a party, and I met some people from the school again, and they were like, well, are you actually at the school? We've never seen you, because they had different classes depending on your levels of English. And I was like, yeah, it's been 2 months. But no one knew me, and I didn't know anyone because I wasn't going out with them. After that party, I came back home around midnight, I think the first time. And the next morning, so it was on Sunday, the next morning the dad literally yelled at me because I came back after a certain time. And I was like, well, first is the weekend, I'm free, I can do whatever I want. And I understand that maybe you're not comfortable with me going back home at 6 a.m, making noise and waking up the girls. But that's not what happened. I came back at midnight, no one heard me, and I wasn't drunk or anything, you know. First time since I got there that I actually had fun and met people, and he yelled at me, and I was like, well, who are you to yell at me? Like, you're not my parent, and you're not like my boss or anything. Like, I'm living with you, I'm doing this for you and that, and you're yelling at me. And I was like, I don't even know what I answered. I think I was a bit stressed and scared, literally. From that point, I knew I had to get out of there because it's just not possible. People are taking advantage of you. They were paying me 15 bucks just to get food for a week, which is nothing, literally. And I asked for a raise, so to give me a little bit more money for food during the week, and they said no. And one day the girls were having snacks or lunch, I can't remember, and there were some crumbs left in the kitchen, and the woman, the wife, called me and said, can you clean that up? And I was like, you're calling me from upstairs to clean bread crumbs in the kitchen? Like, can you not do that yourself? Like, are you kidding me? Every little things like that happened again and again, and I was like, no, it's just too much. So I called the agency and said, you need to find me another family. That's it, just find me another family. And the agency didn't answer, they didn't respond to anything. And I was like, well, it's not our fault if this is happening, so basically deal with it on your own. And so I was like, okay, well, we paid you to find a nice family, and this is what happened. Not really great, but in the end I'm very happy for that experience because I went to York, which is fantastic. I met some of my best friends for life there. The language school was amazing. And so basically what happened, I told the Indian family that I wanted to stop, that it wasn't working, and they were like, well, we agree it's not working. And I was like, yeah, you just need a maid, that's it, so don't employ an au pair. And yeah, I took my stuff and I called the language school, and they took me into a host family. So that's something that they do a lot in England. Basically it's families, British families or other families. the school pays or the family get paid by someone, schools or government, not sure. And they just host international students. And it's great because you can choose to have lunch or dinners with them, but it's not an obligation. It's usually really nice families. And I was very lucky because the school found me the perfect family, host family. So I was with 2 other students from the school, which is also great. And yeah, from December or mid-December, I changed and I stopped being an au pair. Another thing that happened, the day I left the family, so imagine I'm 18, I'm going to England for like a year or something, so I had 2 huge suitcases, huge, they were massive. In the Indian family they had stairs because they had a floor, so I was upstairs with my 2 big suitcases and they didn't even help me to go down. And they were just looking at me like that, waiting for me to leave. They didn't say goodbye, nothing. Really, really terrible people. But yeah, that's how it ended, and I've never heard from them anymore. I don't know what happens, but I don't know if they found someone else. So yeah, that's what happened and why I quit and stopped working for them. But I know lots of my friends tried to be an au pair as well, and some of them had a really great family. They could take the car, drive around, drive the kids to the park, things like that, even shared some weekend trips with them. So I mean, it all could be great or it could go wrong. It's really, I mean, it all depends. It's really if you're lucky or not. But I would suggest, if you want to do that, always have a backup plan. So, okay, you want to try and be an au pair because you like kids, you want to discover a new life and you actually have a house, you don't need to pay a house, so that's great. But just have a backup plan. And also, try to be very clear from the beginning. Like, I will do this and not this and this. And if you don't agree, then that's fine, but I'm not coming to your house to help you. Because that's what I thought I did, but it wasn't clear enough. Maybe get a contract or at least something written down that you could, you know, argue with. I'm very glad for this experience because it taught me so many things. But yeah, just have a backup plan, make sure that you know the family and that you agreed on specific things to do and not to do. And if you're not happy, just leave and don't worry, life will go on. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope it helped and that you learned some new vocabulary and about my experience. If you're interested in being an au pair, you can comment, tell me which countries you would like to au pair in. And I really hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you next week. Bye!